Hey guys, welcome to Desi Abroad, where I make videos about living, working, and traveling in Thailand. In this video, I will be explaining you about the procedure of getting a non-immigrant B visa, also known as the work visa, as well as a work permit to start working in Thailand. I will be explaining about the documents required, how much it can cost you, and some extra information that you guys might find useful. So before we continue guys, make sure if you still have not subscribed to my channel right now, hit that like button and also hit that bell notification key so you can get notifications about my videos. And every subscribe, every like, and every notifications help me support my channel. Okay, so let's begin. Now, to start legally working in Thailand, you actually need to get two documents from the government of Thailand. Number one is a non-immigrant B visa, which is also known as a work visa. And once you have acquired your non-immigrant B visa, you need to apply for a work permit to legally start working in Thailand. Now, a non-immigrant B visa, like I said, also known as a work visa, technically does not legally allow you to start working in Thailand. It is only a visa which allows you to stay in Thailand for long term, which is 1 year time period. And after that, you can keep on extending your non-immigrant B visa as per your work requirements or the business that you will be conducting once you are here in Thailand. So, who needs a non-immigrant B visa? Well, all those people who wish to teach in Thailand, work for a multinational corporation within Thailand, or those people who want to conduct any sort of business within Thailand will require to have a non-immigrant B visa to come to Thailand on a long-term basis and perform their required duties. So let's begin by discussing about the documents required for a non-immigrant B visa if you're planning on teaching in Thailand. The first and the foremost important document that you need is of course your passport, which needs to be valid for at least 6 months period. And of course, you need to also complete a visa application form. I will try to link the visa application form in the description below so you can find that, download it, and maybe fill it up. Also, you need a recent passport size photograph, which is usually 4 by 6 centimeter, and it should be recent, no later than 6 months. Also, very important, you need a letter of acceptance from employing institute or school in Thailand. So in this case, the school will be providing you a letter which confirms that you have been offered a job from them and they are ready to hire you. On top of that, there is also one more letter that is really important for the school to actually provide you, which is the letter of approval from a government agency, such as the Office of Private Education Commission, the Office of Basic Education Commission, or the Ministry of Education. Now, to get this document, it takes a bit of time. Minimum, it takes around 2 weeks to obtain an approval from the government agency, but it can exceed and go up to maybe 1 or 2 months, depending on how much workload they have. The school will also be providing you with extra or additional documentation such as school license or business registration, as well as list of shareholders and school profile. Now, these are the documents that the school will provide you. You also need to attach your resume or CV when you are submitting your documents for the non-immigrant B visa, for the teaching, and also in some cases, not always, they might also require you to submit a police certificate verifying that the applicant has no criminal record, and it might be asked on request. It is not always asked, but it depends on the embassy that you're applying through. Okay, those were the documents required that you need to submit at your embassy when you're applying for a non-immigrant B visa as a teacher. Now, moving over to the documents required when you're applying for a non-immigrant B visa for working for a multinational corporation or any other business in Thailand. Now, you might notice that the documents required for working for another company or conducting your own business are actually a bit more compared to the documents required for teaching in Thailand. So let's move forward and discuss about the documents required when you want to work for a company in Thailand rather than teaching in Thailand. Okay, so now let's talk about the documents that are required for the non-immigrant B visa if you are planning to work for a corporation in Thailand. So the documents that you need to give on your behalf are of course, passport that needs to be valid for at least 6 months. You need to complete a visa application form. You need to submit recent passport size photographs, which are 4 by 6 centimeter and should be taken within the past 6 months. You also need to provide proof of finances. So you need to show proof of finances of at least 20,000 baht for a single individual. As if you're going with a family, you need to show evidence of 40,000 baht. On top of that, the organization that is hiring you will also be providing you a number of documents, and the most important document that they will be sending to you is the approval letter from the Ministry of Labor. They are required to take permission from the Ministry of Labor to allow you to start working for their organization, and that letter is required to be submitted to the embassy while you're applying for your non-immigrant B visa. On top of that, the company will also be providing you the following documentation, which are business registration and business license, list of shareholders, company profile, details of business operation, list of foreign workers stating their names, nationalities and positions, map indicating location of the company, their balance sheet, statement of income tax and business tax. And finally, they also need to provide with a value added tax registration. So there are a number of documents that the business or the organization that you plan on working with needs to provide you before you can actually go to the embassy and apply for your non-immigrant B visa for working for an organization. Okay, now moving over to the last type of individuals who can get a non-immigrant B visa are those people who want to conduct business in Thailand. Now, some of the documents are pretty much the same, but then definitely there are extra documents that will be required. So let's go through those documents. Now, first and foremost, you need a passport or travel document with a validity of not less than 6 months. You need to complete an application form. You need to have recent passport size photographs, again 4 by 6 centimeters, which need to be taken within 6 months time. You also need to show proof of adequate funds, which is 20,000 baht per person and 40,000 baht per family. Okay, so you have to do that as well. On top of that, the documents that will be sent to you by the organization that you will be conducting business with are a letter from the applicant's company indicating the applicant's position, length of employment, salary, and purpose of visiting Thailand. Also, documents showing correspondence with business partners in Thailand, uh, evidence of financial status in the case where the applicant is self-employed. Also, a letter of invitation from trading or associated partners companies in Thailand. So they need to send you an invitation letter officially inviting you to Thailand. The organization that you will be conducting business with needs to send company documents as well, which will include business registration and business license, list of shareholders, company profile, details of business operation, of course, map indicating location of the company, balance sheet, state of income tax, and business tax, as well as value added tax registration, which are pretty much the same as for those who are applying for a non-immigrant B visa to work for a organization. So the documents for people who want to work for an organization or who want to conduct business in Thailand are closely same with some variations of approval letter. So in a working for a company, you will require a approval letter from the Ministry of Labor. If you want to conduct a business, you will be required a invitation letter from the company. And if you are coming to Thailand to teach, you will be required an approval letter from the government agencies which are related to education, such as the Ministry of Education. Okay, one document that is considered really important now that you need to have when you're applying for a non-immigrant B visa, whether you're applying as a teacher or for working for a corporation or even conducting business, is a health insurance. And that health insurance needs to cover your medical expenses in Thailand, including a minimum coverage of 100,000 US dollars for COVID-19. Now that is a really important document or really important thing that you also need to submit when you're submitting all the other documents to your local Thai embassy. So those were the documents that are required for the non-immigrant B visa if you are coming to Thailand to teach, to work, or to conduct some sort of business. You can apply for a non-immigrant B visa from your home country by visiting your local Thai embassy or from the surrounding areas of Thailand, such as Laos or Vietnam. Also, there is a third option, which is that you can actually apply for a non-immigrant B visa from within Thailand, but it is usually for those people who are already in Thailand on a tourist visa and later on they convert their tourist visa into a non-immigrant B visa without leaving Thailand. To get a non-immigrant B visa, it does not actually cost you too much. It only costs you 2,000 Thai baht to get a single entry non-immigrant B visa. And if you are looking for a multiple entry non-immigrant B visa, it will be costing you 5,000 Thai baht. Now, something really important that when you initially apply for a non-immigrant B visa, your non-immigrant B visa will only be valid for 90 days and you have a time period within which you need to travel to Thailand. And if you do not travel within that time frame, your non-immigrant B visa will be cancelled. Now, once you are in Thailand, and like I said, you will only have 90 days to stay in Thailand on your initial non-immigrant B visa, you need to apply for a work permit through your organization. Once you have gotten your work permit, then you will reapply for a non-immigrant B visa, which will be extended for a period of 1 year. So, like I mentioned before, a non-immigrant B visa is only the first step for you to start working legally in Thailand. Now, after you have gotten your non-immigrant B visa and you have arrived to Thailand, your company or organization will help you apply for a work permit, which is a blue passport size book, which consists information such as your current position, your job description, and the name of the Thai company that you are working with. That is a legal documentation that actually allows you to effectively and legally start working in Thailand. On top of that, if you have a non-immigrant B visa and you're in Thailand and you do not apply for a work permit, you are not, like I said before, permitted to actually legally start working in Thailand, and you can actually get in trouble for that. So, talking about the documents that are required to get a work permit within Thailand, they're not that complicated of documents. They're actually really simple. So let's go ahead and discuss about the documents. Well, the first and the foremost important document that you will be needing is your passport, and you also need to submit copies of every single page of your passport as well. Also, you need to present your Thai work visa, which is also known as the non-immigrant B visa, which we discussed previously. You also need to submit your academic degrees and certificate, also your employment letter or contract, which states your salary, your position, and your work responsibilities. They might ask you for extra certificate or licenses depending on your job. And you also need to submit your CV or resume. And you also need to submit 3 pictures, which has a different dimension compared to the passport size pictures that you need for a non-immigrant B visa. This time the dimensions are 5 by 6 centimeters rather than 4 by 6, which are for the passport size. You also need to show proof of accommodation in Thailand and a medical certificate. Now, the medical certificate is not that difficult to obtain. I will discuss that right after I tell you about all the documents. These are the documents that need to be provided by you. The company will provide you the company certificate, a list of company stakeholders, WAT certificate, company's withholding tax, and some other additional information or documents the company will provide you to apply for a work permit. Okay, briefly talking about the medical certificate that you are required to submit when you're applying for a work permit is actually very easy to obtain. You can just go to any local hospital or clinic and just simply tell them that you need to get your medical certificate for a work permit. They pretty much know what they have to check for, but just to give you an idea that there are a few things that they check for the medical certificate, and those are the 3rd stage of syphilis, which is actually a blood test that they will take. They will also check for elephantiasis, which is a clinical evaluation. Also for drug abuse and alcoholism, like if you are an alcoholic or not. Also about leprosy and insanity. So there are 5 things that they will be checking, and it's pretty much a very simple analysis by the doctor and just one single blood test for the syphilis, and that's it. And then they will give you a certificate, medical certificate that you can take with you for the work permit. So it usually takes 7 days, could be more, for the process of the work permit to be completed and for you to be given your work permit, which actually allows you to now legally start working in Thailand. One more thing, a work permit is actually issued by the Ministry of Labor, not the Thai Embassy, but the Ministry of Labor of Thailand. So briefly talking about the cost of the work permit, well, there are 3 different costs depending on how long you will be staying in Thailand, conducting your business or working. So if you're doing it for short term, which is for 3 months time, the work permit will cost you 750 Thai baht. If you're planning on only getting a work permit for 6 months, it will cost you 1,500 Thai baht. But if you're planning on obtaining a work permit for more than 6 months period, maximum of 1 year time, it will cost you around 3,000 Thai baht. Just to let you know that a work permit and the work visa, also known as the non-immigrant B visa, can be extended every year depending on how long you will be working or staying in Thailand, and they need to be renewed annually. Okay, so that is the information I wanted to provide to you guys about the non-immigrant B visa, also known as the work visa, as well as the work permit. Now, once you have obtained these documents and you are living in Thailand and working in Thailand, there are some extra things that you need to be careful about, such as the 90-day report or re-entry permit, which I actually discussed in my previous videos about the long-term visas that I made. I can drop a link. You will see a link right here that you can check if you want to know about those things as well. So before I end up this video, guys, please make sure, if you guys still have not subscribed to my channel right now, like this video and also hit that notification key so you can get notifications about my videos. So I hope that you found this video useful and helpful for your future if you're planning on coming and living or working in Thailand. And I will see you guys later for my other videos. Take care. Bye-bye.